I like cooking. It's one of my side hobbies. I really enjoy it. And one of the things I enjoy with cooking is garlic. Who doesn't like garlic? Well, I think we like to eat garlic, but I don't think we really like people who have eaten garlic, if you know what I mean. So, we're going to take a look at freeze drying some of this garlic. This is fresh garlic. One of the problems I have with garlic in my pantry is if I don't use it up fast enough, it will end up just drying out and it becomes so dry and hard that you really can't use it much. So we're going to take a look at this type of garlic. Now, in addition to doing the fresh garlic, we're also going to freeze dry this product right here. Now, this is a minced garlic that is suspended in water and phosphoric acid as a preservative, and it does have a best by date which expires in 3 months. So we're going to do fresh garlic and some of this canned garlic. This is kind of chunky. I really like this stuff also. The first thing we got to do is we got to peel the garlic and get all the skins off. So some of the garlic that we prepared is going to be sauteed. Now normally you'd put some olive oil in with this, but we don't want the oil to be in our freeze-dried food because oil is just not going to help foods freeze dry very well. So we're going to control the caramelization by using a little bit of water. Now this garlic was fairly fresh, so it had a lot of moisture in it. And that's one of the nice things about not having to put oil in it, but I will supplement it a little bit with some water. We just want to caramelize the garlic. We don't want to really cook it too much. Cooking the garlic will make the garlic a little bit more mild and more sweet than regular garlic. And I'm doing this on medium heat. So we're going to do several methods of the garlic. I'm going to saute some in a pan, and I'm not adding any oil because we don't want oil to be in with our freeze-dried food. So we're going to saute some garlic until it's caramelized. We're going to roast some garlic in the oven, then some garlic is just going to remain plain. So this is our section of sauteed garlic. There's two ways I'm going to do my roasted garlic. One method is using the entire whole garlic, where you just cut it in two, and the other one is where you peel the individual garlic cloves and do it that way. So in both methods, normally you would use olive oil to drizzle olive oil onto the garlic as you're going to cook it, but since I'm going to freeze dry this, I'm trying to keep all the oil away from my freeze dried food. It will just freeze dry a lot better because oil does not freeze dry well. So with the individual cloves, we're just going to take these and I'm going to put them in aluminum foil, and we're just going to wrap them up like so. Now normally, this is where you then put some olive oil inside to help cook the garlic cloves, but in this case, I'm just going to use water. So I'm going to take and put about 2 tablespoons of water in with this garlic, and I'm going to seal it up. And I'm going to put this on the pie tin. Now, with the individual garlic cloves, I'm going to put this into the oven at 400 degrees. I'm going to check this in about 15 minutes. Now with the whole garlic, that's much easier. With the whole garlic, we're just going to take the entire piece. I'm going to cut it right in half. So it's exposing all the individual cloves that are now in 2 pieces. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put this in some aluminum foil. Ball it up. And normally we'd add olive oil, but in this case I'm just going to add about 2 tablespoons of water. I'm going to seal this up. Now with the whole garlic, we're going to cook this at 400 degrees from 30 to 40 minutes, but we'll check on it from time to time. We want to cook it so it becomes soft, almost like a potato that you're going to mash. So I have my 2 garlics, cloves and whole, that we're going to put in the oven. I checked this garlic out at 15 minutes and it was still pretty hard, so I stuck it in for an additional 15 minutes. And so this is what we have right now. So, see how tender this is, and that's going through a lot better now. So these are the individual cloves, and this is the whole garlic, and it's hot. And this is the garlic was sliced in half and roasted. So we're going to go ahead and prepare these for freeze drying, and then we'll see what happens after that. Now, this garlic was roasted in its own paper container, so to speak, and so what we're going to have to do is just kind of give this a pinch and just push this out. This is not the easiest way of doing this, but it's just another way of doing this. It seems like roasting it as a whole, you end up losing some of the garlic that's way back down inside this paper covering than roasting it as an individual clove. Well, one thing for certain, I do not like roasting garlic as a whole. It's just messy to try to get the individual cloves out, and I'm wasting some of the cloves. They're still wrapped up inside the paper. I definitely like roasting garlic as whole cloves instead of as half a whole. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and add this to the other garlic and freeze dry it, and then we're going to do a taste test and reconstitution to see if there's any difference between the types of garlic after they've been freeze dried. Now, prior to freeze drying, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this garlic, I'm going to go ahead and smash it because it's going to be easier to work with it prior to freeze drying than after freeze drying. And you can tell that this is much softer than other garlic. It's almost like mashed potatoes, if I can use that term. They say that roasting garlic gives it a much more mild flavor. So we're going to take this roasted garlic and our regular garlic, our sauteed garlic, and then the prepared garlic, and we're going to go ahead and freeze dry that, and we'll go from there. And then with this prepared garlic, we're just going to drain the liquids off of this. And we're going to process this in with the rest of the garlic. You'd have to be here, but my kitchen, my entire house, has the most unusual smell right now with all this garlic. So we have our 4 garlics right here. We have the plain, roasted, bottled, and sauteed garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-freeze this and then get it ready to freeze dry it. Here's my garlic right out of the freeze dryer. I have the plain, the roasted, the bottled, and the sauteed. And even taking it out of the freeze dryer, it is a strong smell. And I didn't want to do it by itself because that's just a waste of time. So I thought, what could I freeze dry with the garlic that wouldn't be a problem and get the garlic smell? Well, how about my chicken pad thai? So I'm kind of hoping my pad thai kind of picked up the garlic taste because it does make the pad thai taste better. So anyway, getting back to the garlic, we're going to go ahead and see how this turned out. We're going to reconstitute some, powder some, and we're going to see which one I prefer. This is the recipe I'm going to use to make my garlic butter. I have 1 cup of butter, unsalted. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of each of my garlics, so I'm going to have to do this recipe 4 times. And I have a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I have 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. So this all gets mixed up, and then it's a spread to put on bread. So now, okay, I think what I will do, I'm going to start with my sauteed garlic. So I need 1 tablespoon of my freeze-dried sauteed garlic. Now, I was just thinking, this is 1 tablespoon of garlic that's been freeze-dried, but how much is this going to be when it's reconstituted? So the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon, but this could be much more than 1 tablespoon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this tablespoon of garlic and I'm going to have to reconstitute this because I have a feeling if I go 1-to-1 with regular garlic and freeze-dried garlic, my garlic is going to be way too strong. So I'm going to reconstitute it and then see how much I really have. So I added some water to my 1 tablespoon of garlic. Now I put this back in to my measuring spoon. As a paste. It comes to about 3/4 of a spoon. So I don't think it's going to be too much, but I think I'll go ahead and put this in and then see what happens with this amount of garlic. Now the recipe that I'm using is from All Recipes, and one of the things they mention is you need to adjust the Italian seasoning, the salt, and the pepper to taste once you're all done. So we'll have to mix all this up and see what happens, and then perhaps make some adjustments. I have my 4 garlic butters. I have the plain garlic, the retail garlic, the roasted garlic, and the sauteed garlic. So now I'm going to go grab some French bread. We'll slice it up, toast the French bread, lather some of this onto it, and start the taste test. I thought it would be interesting to have some fun with this and do a little bit of a taste testing contest. And once again, please no wagering. Okay, so we freeze dried the garlic and we brought the garlic back and we mixed it up in a really good, tasty garlic butter. It was really, really good. So we went out and hit neighbors, co-workers, all sorts of people, family members, and we did survey, so to speak. What we did, we had 4 pieces of garlic bread, and we had each spread on each piece of garlic bread, and it was toasted. And then we had the individuals taste each sample, and we have these 10 words here, and these 10 words are what we gleaned from the internet that described garlic. So we found 10 words describing garlic as mild, strong, aromatic, sweet, hot, pungent, spicy, earthy, nutty, and mellow. And then we had, of course, another category if someone wanted to come up with their own words. So we had them circle what they thought of the different garlic bread. And this is the first one, that sample number 1, which was also the minced retail garlic. And if you take a look at this, mild was the top describer out of all the words. There was mild, and then came in third with mellow and nutty. But anyway, this was a big mild one. What was interesting is strong was the most popular word to describe this, and this was the plain garlic. And that kind of makes sense because all the other garlic was cooked or heated or something to that nature that the plain garlic didn't have done to it. So it was really interesting that strong was the best word to describe plain garlic. On our third sample, mild was a really big one again, and that was roasted. And I've always been led to believe that roasting garlic made it mild and not as strong. And I'm surprised because I've also heard that roasting garlic will make it kind of sweet. We got 2 on the sweet, but I thought we'd get more. The last sample, of course, is one, if you've been keeping record, this is going to be our sauteed garlic. This is the garlic that we caramelize. And I was a little bit shocked that it didn't do better in the mild and the mellow areas, because sauteed garlic should be quite mild, but yet it had 4 people saying it was strong, and it was 4 people saying it was pungent. So that was a big surprise. I didn't think it would be all over the board like it was. Now, one other thing we had them do, their little taste test, is down on the bottom, we had them list in order of the preference between 1 and 4, 1 being best. Which one do they like the best? Sample 1, 2, 3, or 4? Well, this also surprised me. Here's a listing of all the rankings of the 4 samples. It comes down to, in second place is retail. First place is plain. See, I was really surprised that the plain garlic did the best. The plain garlic had more first place votes than anything else. So the most popular was plain, and then the second most popular was the retail garlic that was pre-prepared, and then sauteed, and then roasted. That really surprised me that the plain garlic did the best. But I guess this is also good for all those people who want to freeze dry garlic, is that if plain garlic did the best, then you don't need to roast your garlic or saute your garlic. You can just take your garlic, peel it, crush it, pre-freeze it or whatever, throw it in the freeze dryer, and you should be good to go. Because according to this, plain did the best. Now, one other thing about asking people how things taste, well, what's the difference between plain and mild? If I were to ask someone to describe the taste of salt, well, you can see where the difficulties are. So this is not scientific in the least. I don't know, maybe a lot of these people who tasted the garlic bread had COVID and had a loss of their taste buds or something. But anyway, plain looks like is the most popular. So go ahead and knock yourselves out with garlic. And, you know, after I got done freeze drying the garlic, yes, my freeze dryer smelled like garlic a little bit. But once I wiped it down with isopropyl alcohol, the garlic was pretty much gone. So I hope you enjoyed this.
Don't be afraid of doing garlic in your freeze dryer. It'll make your house aromatic, but hey, we need garlic in the future. So anyway, thank you once again for your time. Please subscribe, and I will send you another video very, very soon. Thank you again.